Wealth does not respond only to effort. It responds to energy. Long before money enters your hands, it enters your aura. Your aura is the invisible atmosphere you carry, the emotional, mental, and spiritual signal you send into the world every single moment. People may not consciously notice it, but opportunities, ideas, and money feel it instantly. If your aura is trained in scarcity, fear, or desperation, wealth avoids you. If your aura is trained in confidence, clarity, and expectation, wealth moves toward you naturally. Most people work hard but remain stuck because they are trying to attract abundance with an untrained inner world. You cannot expect wealth to stay with someone who feels undeserving, rushed, or internally chaotic. Money looks for stability, direction, and respect. Man, training your aura is about becoming the kind of person wealth feels safe flowing to. The first step in training your aura is awareness. You must recognize that every thought you think, every word you speak, and every emotional reaction you allow is shaping your energetic presence. Complaining weakens your aura. Constant comparison fractures it. Fear makes it noisy and unstable. But gratitude, discipline, and self-respect strengthen it. When your aura is strong, you no longer chase wealth. It notices you. A wealthy aura is calm, not desperate. It moves with patience, not panic. People who attract wealth are rarely loud about their struggles. They understand timing. They understand that reacting emotionally to every setback leaks energy. Instead of fighting life, they align with it. This alignment creates a magnetic pull that draws the right people, the right chances, and the right ideas at the right moment. Your aura is also trained by how you treat yourself. If you constantly neglect your health, your time, and your personal standards, you send a message of low value. Wealth mirrors self-value. When you respect your time, protect your focus, and honor your commitments, your aura becomes structured. Structure attracts money because money requires management, not chaos. Another critical aspect is emotional discipline. A trained aura does not swing wildly between hope and despair. It stays grounded. Emotional stability signals maturity, and maturity attracts responsibility, including financial responsibility. When you stop letting external events control your inner state, your aura becomes unshakable. That stability makes others trust you, invest in you, and offer you opportunities. Belief is also a silent trainer of your aura. If deep down you believe wealth is rare, difficult, or reserved for others, your aura communicates resistance. But when you train your mind to see wealth as expandable, learnable, and approachable, your aura opens. This does not mean blind positivity. It means disciplined belief backed by action. Wealth responds to people who expect results and are prepared to handle them. Your daily habits are constantly shaping your aura. What you consume mentally, what you tolerate emotionally, and what you repeat behaviorally all leave energetic fingerprints. A wealthy aura is built through consistency, consistent learning, consistent effort, consistent self-control. You do not need perfection, you need direction. Direction gives your aura purpose, and purpose attracts resources. Finally, training your aura to attract wealth means learning to let go. Let go of resentment towards successful people. Let go of guilt about wanting more. Let go of the identity of struggle. When you release these internal blocks, your aura becomes light, open, and receptive. Wealth flows toward openness, not resistance. When your aura is trained, wealth stops feeling distant. It stops feeling lucky or accidental. It becomes a natural extension of who you are. You no longer ask if wealth will come. You prepare yourself to receive it. Most people are taught that wealth is the direct reward of effort alone, that if you work harder than everyone else, money must eventually follow. Yet reality shows something very different. There are countless individuals who work endlessly and remain stuck, while others seem to attract opportunities, resources, and financial growth with far less visible struggle. The difference lies not in how much effort is applied, but in the energy behind that effort. Energy is the emotional and mental charge carried into action. Two people can perform the same task for the same number of hours, yet produce completely different results because one is operating from confidence and clarity, while the other is operating from fear and pressure. When effort is fueled by anxiety, urgency, or a sense of lack, It sends a signal of instability. This type of energy creates resistance. Decisions made from fear tend to be rushed, reactive, and poorly timed. People working from this state often underprice themselves, accept the wrong opportunities, or stay trapped in cycles of exhaustion. Wealth does not respond well to desperation because desperation lacks direction. It creates noise rather than clarity, and money moves to any clarity. On the other hand, effort backed by aligned energy feels different. It feels intentional rather than frantic. It carries expectation instead of doubt. When your internal state is grounded, your actions become precise. You choose better paths, communicate with more authority, and recognize opportunities earlier than others. This is not coincidence. Your aura acts like a filter through which effort is expressed. If the filter is distorted by scarcity thinking, even strong effort produces weak outcomes. If the filter is clear, even modest effort compounds powerfully. Energy also determines how long effort can be sustained. Effort driven purely by force leads to burnout. Effort driven by aligned energy creates endurance. Wealth is rarely built in short bursts. It requires consistency over time. Only an energy state rooted in belief, patience, and self-trust can maintain the consistency. This is why some people give up just before results appear, while others persist calmly until results are inevitable. Another crucial aspect is how others respond to your energy. Wealth rarely arrives alone. It moves through people, systems, and networks. When your aura communicates tension, self-doubt, or neediness, others subconsciously pull away. When it communicates stability and confidence, people feel safe engaging with you. They listen more closely, respect your time, and take your ideas seriously. Effort opens doors, but energy determines whether those doors stay open. Effort without energetic alignment often turns into struggle. Struggle hardens the belief that money is difficult, which further distorts the aura. This creates a loop where more effort produces more frustration. Breaking this loop requires understanding that effort is a tool, not the source. The source is internal alignment. Once energy is trained toward abundance, effort stops feeling heavy. It becomes focused, efficient, and attractive rather than draining. Even the results of effort are influenced by energy. When you expect rejection, you unconsciously act in ways that invite it. When you expect progress, your posture, tone, and choices shift subtly but powerfully. These small shifts accumulate. Over time, they separate those who merely work from those who build wealth. Energy determines how effort is received by the world, how it compounds, and whether it leads to expansion or exhaustion. This is why training your aura is not avoiding hard work. It is refining it. It is learning to bring the right internal state to every action. When energy and effort move together, wealth stops being a distant reward and starts becoming a natural response to who you are and how you move through life. Awareness is the moment you stop living on autopilot and start observing the invisible forces shaping your reality. Most people are unaware of the constant stream of thoughts running through their minds and the emotional reactions they allow Yet these inner patterns quietly shape the aura they project. Every repeated thought strengthens a certain energetic tone. When someone lives in constant worry, self-criticism, or resentment, that tone becomes heavy and chaotic. Wealth does not respond to chaos. It responds to clarity. Awareness is the doorway through which clarity enters. When you become aware of your inner dialogue, you begin to notice how often it speaks in limitation. Phrases like "this is too hard," "people like me don't get rich," or "money never stays" may seem harmless, but they act as instructions to the aura. The mind repeats what it believes to be true, and the aura broadcasts those beliefs outward. Awareness allows you to interrupt this loop. You cannot change what you do not see. The simple act of noticing a limiting thought weakens its control and creates space for a new, more aligned perspective. Awareness also applies to emotional habits. Many people unknowingly train their aura to react instead of respond. They become irritated by delays, discouraged by small losses, and emotionally attached to outcomes they cannot control. Each reaction leaks energy. That pause is powerful. It restores energy, strengthens presence, and prevents your aura from being pulled in too many directions at once. Language is another area where awareness transforms attraction. Words spoken repeatedly carry weight. Complaining, blaming, or constantly discussing problems trains the aura to focus on lack. Awareness of speech allows you to choose words that reflect direction rather than defeat. This does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to energize what you do not want to grow. When your words align with progress, your aura begins to signal readiness rather than resistance. Awareness of environment is equally important. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the spaces you occupy all influence your energetic state. Without awareness, you absorb moods, beliefs, and limitations that are not your own. Over time, this weakens personal identity and blurs intention. When you become conscious of these influences, you regain control. You start choosing environments that elevate focus, discipline, and possibility. That choice strengthens the aura by reinforcing consistency. Self-awareness also reveals contradictions between desire and behavior. Many people claim they want wealth while avoiding responsibility, discipline, or long-term thinking. Awareness exposes these gaps without judgment. It shows where alignment is missing. Once seen, these gaps can be corrected. Alignment between intention and action creates coherence in the aura. Coherence is attractive. It signals integrity, and integrity draws trust, opportunities, and support. Another dimension of awareness is recognizing energetic shifts within yourself. There are moments when focus is sharp and moments when it is scattered. Without awareness, people push through exhaustion and dilute their energy. With awareness, they learn to rest strategically, refocus intentionally, and act when energy is strongest. This respect for internal rhythm prevents burnout and preserves momentum. A well-managed aura is not constantly intense. It is intelligently directed. Awareness ultimately turns the inner world into a conscious training ground. Instead of being controlled by habits, reactions, and inherited beliefs, you become the observer and the director. This shift changes how energy moves through you. The aura becomes quieter, more centered, and more deliberate. In that stillness, wealth finds space to approach because it is no longer competing with inner noise or confusion. A calm and patient aura is one of the most underestimated forces in wealth creation. In a world driven by urgency and constant comparison, most people operate from a state of internal pressure. They feel behind, rushed, and afraid of missing out. This pressure leaks into their decisions, conversations, and actions. Even when they appear busy, their energy communicates instability. Wealth does not move toward instability. It waits for steadiness. A calm aura signals readiness, self-trust, and control over one's inner world. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active emotional regulation. When your aura is patient, you do not force outcomes before they are ready. You allow ideas to mature, relationships to develop, and opportunities to align properly. Many financial losses occur not because people lack intelligence, but because they act too soon from impatience. A patient aura prevents premature decisions. It creates space for observation, learning, and strategic movement rather than impulsive reaction. Calmness also sharpens perception. When the inner state is noisy, the mind misses subtle signals. Opportunities often appear quietly, disguised as small conversations, delayed responses, or unexpected redirections. A frantic aura overlooks these signs or misinterprets them as obstacles. A calm aura notices patterns. It senses timing. This sensitivity allows you to move when conditions are favorable, rather than when emotions are loud. People instinctively trust calm energy. In financial matters, trust is everything. Investors, partners, clients, and employers are drawn to individuals who remain composed under pressure. A calm aura communicates competence without needing to prove it. When challenges arise, calm individuals respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. This response builds credibility. Over time, credibility turns into opportunity, and opportunity turns into wealth. Patience also protects against comparison. Comparison destabilizes the aura by pulling attention outward instead of inward. When you constantly measure your progress against others, your energy fragments. You begin to doubt your path and rush your process. A patient aura remains focused on its own trajectory. It understands that growth is personal and timing is unique. This internal focus preserves energy and allows consistent progress without emotional exhaustion. A calm aura also allows wealth to stay once it arrives. Sudden financial gain often disappears quickly for those who lack inner stability. Panic spending, poor planning, and fear based decisions drain resources. Calmness provides containment. It allows money to be handled thoughtfully, invested wisely, and grown steadily. Wealth seeks environments where it can expand safely, not ones where it is mishandled through emotional swings. Another powerful effect of patience is endurance. Wealth is rarely the result of a single event. It is the accumulation of many small, aligned actions over time. Impatient energy burns out quickly. Patient energy compounds. It stays consistent during slow periods and resilient during setbacks. This consistency builds momentum, and momentum attracts attention, support, and further opportunity. A calm and patient aura also influences how life responds to you. When you stop forcing outcomes, resistance decreases. Situations unfold with less friction. People are more cooperative. Solutions appear with less struggle. This does not mean challenges disappear. They become manageable rather than overwhelming. The absence of inner panic creates room for intelligent response. Through calmness and patience, the aura becomes steady and attractive rather than chaotic and demanding. It sends a clear signal of confidence in timing and trust in process. That signal draws opportunities that match its rhythm, creating a natural flow toward financial growth without unnecessary strain or urgency. Self-respect is the silent framework that determines how much wealth can enter and remain in your life. Aye. Long before money responds to skills or ambition, it responds to how you value yourself. Every choice you make regarding your time, health, boundaries, and standards sends a message through your aura. When those choices are careless or inconsistent, the message communicated is low value and wealth does not align with low value because it requires structure, responsibility, and respect to survive. Respecting your time is one of the strongest indicators of a wealthy aura. People who constantly waste their own time or allow others to misuse it communicate that their energy is cheap. This often results in being underpaid, overlooked, or taken for granted. When you protect your time, plan it intentionally, and invest it wisely, your aura gains weight. Others sense that weight and respond with seriousness. Opportunities offered to you improve because your presence demands respect without force. Health is another form of self-respect that directly affects energetic strength. A body that is neglected sends signals of exhaustion and instability. Fatigue clouds judgment and weakens discipline. Wealth requires clear thinking and sustained effort. When you care for your physical and mental well-being, your aura becomes more resilient. Resilience attracts responsibility, and responsibility attracts higher levels of income and influence. So, personal standards define what you accept and what you reject. Without standards, you say yes to everything, including situations that drain your energy or compromise your growth. This creates fragmentation in the aura. Fragmented energy cannot hold wealth because it lacks direction. When you raise your standards, you narrow your focus. You choose quality over quantity. This clarity strengthens your energetic presence and makes your actions more effective. Boundaries are another essential expression of self-respect. Many people confuse accessibility with value. They overextend themselves, tolerate disrespect, and avoid confrontation to stay liked. This behavior weakens the aura by signaling insecurity. Wealth moves toward individuals who are comfortable setting limits. Boundaries create order. Order creates trust. Trust opens doors to better opportunities, partnerships, and financial growth. Self-respect also shapes decision-making. When you value yourself, you do not chase validation or short-term gains at the expense of long-term stability. You think strategically. You delay gratification. These traits are fundamental to wealth accumulation. Your aura reflects this discipline, making others more confident in your reliability and judgment. Another overlooked aspect of self-respect is consistency. Inconsistent behavior confuse the aura. So, one day focused, the next careless. One moment confident, the next doubtful. Consistency signals integrity. Integrity strengthens energetic coherence. When your actions match your values regularly, your aura becomes solid. Solid energy attracts solid results, including financial stability. Now, self-respect also determines how you handle setbacks. Those who lack it internalize failure as personal worthlessness, which damages confidence and motivation. Those with self-respect see setbacks as feedback. This mindset preserves energy and keeps momentum intact. Wealth responds to this emotional maturity because it indicates the ability to recover and grow. Through self-respect, the aura becomes structured, disciplined, and dependable. It communicates readiness to manage resources rather than waste. That readiness is what allows wealth not only to arrive, but to stay and expand. Emotional discipline is the ability to remain internally steady regardless of external conditions, and it plays a crucial role in attracting and sustaining wealth. Money is closely tied to responsibility, decision-making, and long-term consequences. When emotions are uncontrolled, decisions become impulsive, and impulsive decisions often lead to financial loss. An undisciplined emotional state creates inconsistency in behavior, which weakens trust, both self-trust and the trust others place in you. A person lacking emotional discipline reacts to circumstances rather than responding with intention. Market fluctuations, criticism, delays, or rejection can trigger fear, anger, or discouragement. These reactions distort judgment. In financial matters, distorted judgment leads to poor timing, unnecessary risk, or missed opportunities. Emotional discipline creates a buffer between stimulus and action. That buffer allows logic to guide choices instead of emotion, increasing the likelihood of stable outcomes. Trust is the foundation of all financial relationships. Investors, clients, employers, and partners observe how individuals handle pressure. Someone who remains calm during setback signals reliability. Someone who panics, blames, or withdraws signals risk. Emotional discipline communicates maturity. Maturity attracts responsibility. Responsibility brings access to larger financial roles, greater resources, and higher levels of income. Self-trust also grows from emotional discipline. When you know you can regulate your reactions, you feel safer taking calculated risks. You are less afraid of failure because you trust your ability to recover without losing control. This confidence expands your willingness to pursue opportunities that others avoid. Over time, this expanded range of action creates greater financial potential. Emotionally disciplined individuals also manage wins differently. Sudden success can be as destabilizing as failure. Without discipline, people overspend, overpromise, or become complacent. Emotional stability keeps success grounded. It allows growth to be managed thoughtfully rather than recklessly. Wealth remains with those who can handle both gain and loss with equal composure. Another key aspect is emotional neutrality toward money itself. When money is associated with fear, guilt, or obsession, it controls behavior. Emotional discipline transforms money into a tool rather than a source of identity. This balanced relationship reduces stress and improves clarity. Clear thinking enhances planning, investing, and long-term financial strategy. Emotional discipline also strengthens communication. Difficult conversations about money, expectations, or boundaries require calm expression. Those who communicate without emotional volatility are taken more seriously. Their words carry weight. This influence translates into negotiation power, leadership roles, and better financial outcomes. Daily emotional regulation preserves energy. Emotional outbursts drain focus and motivation. Over time, this drain reduces productivity and consistency. Discipline conserves energy and directs it toward meaningful action. Consistent action compounds. Compounding is the core mechanism of wealth. By mastering emotional discipline, the aura becomes steady, reliable, and trustworthy. That steadiness invites financial responsibility, long-term collaboration, and opportunities that require maturity rather than impulsive. Belief systems operate quietly beneath conscious thought, yet they exert enormous influence over what a person allows into their life. Long before wealth appears externally, it is either permitted or rejected internally through belief. Many people say they want money, success, and freedom, but their deeper beliefs contradict those desires. These contradictions create resistance within the aura. When wealth encounters resistance, it slows, diverts, or disappears. Scarcity beliefs are often inherited rather than chosen. Childhood observations, cultural narratives, and repeated failures can program the mind to see money as limited, stressful, or morally complicated. These beliefs shape expectations. Expectations. When someone expects difficulty, they unconsciously prepare for struggle. Their aura reflects caution, doubt, and tension. This energetic stance discourages expansion because wealth requires openness and confidence to flow. Expandable beliefs shift the internal narrative. Instead of seeing money as a fixed resource, it becomes a skill, a system, and a process that can be learned and improved. This belief changes behavior. People who believe growth is possible invest in learning, seek mentorship, and experiment without paralyzing fear. Their aura communicates curiosity and readiness rather than defensiveness. That readiness attracts information, guidance, and opportunity. Beliefs also influence how setbacks are interpreted. A scarcity mindset views failure as proof of limitation. This interpretation damages motivation and reinforces self-doubt. An expandable belief system sees failure as feedback. This perspective preserves energy and keeps momentum alive. Over time, resilience compounds into confidence attracts financial reward. Another powerful effect of belief systems is on risk tolerance. Those who believe wealth is fragile avoid opportunities that require calculated risk. They stay in comfort zones that feel safe but offer limited growth. Expandable beliefs allow for intelligent risk-taking. The aura of someone comfortable with learning curves feels dynamic rather than stagnant. Dynamism attracts growth-oriented environments where wealth is more accessible. Beliefs also determine self-permission. Many people subconsciously feel unworthy of wealth. They may associate success with guilt, fear of judgment, or loss of identity. These beliefs create invisible ceilings. Even when opportunities arise, they hesitate or sabotage progress. When belief systems are retrained to accept abundance as natural and deserved, the aura relaxes. Relaxation increases receptivity. The language used internally and externally reveals belief systems. Statements about money, success, and effort either reinforce limitation or possibility. Over time, these statements shape emotional responses and behavior. As beliefs evolve, language becomes more empowered, and the aura reflects certainty instead of conflict. Belief systems also affect patience. Those who believe wealth is rare expect immediate proof and become discouraged quickly. Those who believe in process remain committed during slow phases. This patience keeps action consistent, and consistency attracts results. Wealth aligns with those who trust growth rather than demand instant validation. Through disciplined belief training, the aura shifts from resistance to receptivity. It no longer argues against abundance, but prepares for it. That internal permission creates external movement, allowing financial opportunities to approach without internal conflict. Daily habits are the most consistent trainers of the aura because they operate quietly and repeatedly. What you do once has little impact, but what you repeat every day becomes identity. Wealth is drawn not to occasional bursts of motivation, but to stable patterns of behavior. Each habit you practice sends a daily signal about who you are becoming. Over time, these signals shape the energetic identity that either aligns with abundance or keeps it at a distance, since mental habits are especially powerful. What you read, watch, and listen to daily feeds your internal narrative. Constant exposure to negativity, drama, or limiting viewpoints trains the aura to expect struggle. This expectation influences mood, decision-making, and focus. When mental input is intentional and growth-oriented, the aura becomes clearer and more directed. Direction reduces confusion, and confusion is one of the biggest barriers to wealth. Habits of focus also matter. A scattered mind produces scattered results. When attention is constantly pulled in multiple directions, energy fragments. Fragmented energy lacks momentum. Daily habits that strengthen focus, such as planning, prioritizing, and reducing distractions, consolidate energy. Consolidated energy feels powerful and purposeful. This sense of purpose attracts opportunities that require responsibility and commitment. Learning habits another quiz or 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 another critical vis 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 or another critical factors 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 or another critical factors. People aligned with wealth treat learning as a daily practice rather than an occasional task. They read, observe, and reflect consistently. This steady accumulation of knowledge compounds over time. Knowledge increases competence, and competence increases confidence. The aura of someone confident in their understanding feels secure, which draws trust and opportunity. Physical habits also influence the aura. Movement, rest, and posture affect energy levels. And emotional regulation. A body that is regularly exhausted or neglected weakens the aura by creating irritability and mental fog. Consistent physical care supports clarity and stamina. Stamina allows sustained effort, as sustained effort is essential for long-term financial growth. Habits of discipline train the aura to tolerate discomfort. Wealth often requires delayed gratification and perseverance through boredom or uncertainty. Daily acts of discipline, even small ones, strengthen self-control. Self-control stabilizes emotion and happens decision 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 making, sharpens 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 decision making. Over time, this stability becomes visible to others and opens doors to greater responsibility and reward. Financial habits themselves also shape attraction. How you manage money you already have communicates readiness for more. Consistent saving, budgeting, and thoughtful spending train the aura to handle resources responsibly. Wealth expands toward those who demonstrate respect for what they currently possess. Even habits of reflection matter. Regularly reviewing actions, outcomes, and lessons build self-awareness. This self-awareness refines behavior. Refined behavior strengthens alignment. This ongoing refinement keeps the aura evolving rather than stagnant. Through daily habits, the aura is trained gradually, but powerfully. Each repeated action reinforces an identity aligned with focus, discipline, and growth, making wealth feel like a natural extension of everyday life rather than a distant goal. Letting go is one of the most misunderstood yet powerful aspects of attracting wealth. Many people believe holding on tightly gives them control, but energetically, attachment creates resistance. When the mind clings to resentment, guilt, fear, or outdated identities, the aura becomes heavy and constricted. Wealth moves toward openness, not tension. Releasing internal blocks does not mean giving up ambition. It means removing the emotional weight that interferes with flow. Resentment towards successful people is a common energetic barrier. When success in others triggers bitterness or judgment, the subconscious associates wealth with negativity, 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 negativity. This association silently repels abundance. Letting go of resentment shifts perception. Success becomes proof of possibility rather than a reminder of lack. This shift lightens the aura and allows inspiration to replace comparison. Guilt is another invisible block. Some people feel that wanting more is selfish, greedy, or disloyal to their background. This belief creates internal conflict. Even when opportunities arise, guilt causes hesitation or self-sabotage. Letting go of guilt allows desire to exist without shame. A desire that is accepted internally becomes a clear signal externally. Fear of loss also binds energy. Holding tightly to what you have out of fear restricts growth. This fear leads to over-control, missed opportunities, and stagnation. Letting go of fear does not mean acting recklessly. It means trusting your ability to adapt. Trust expands the aura and invites movement. Another powerful release is letting go of the identity of struggle. Many people unconsciously define themselves by hardship. This identity feels familiar, even safe, but it keeps the aura anchored to survival rather than expansion. Releasing this identity creates space for a new self-image, one capable of ease, growth, and stability. Control is often mistaken for security. Attempting to control every outcome tightens emotional grip and drains energy. Letting go introduces flexibility. Flexibility allows redirection without panic. This adaptability is essential for wealth, which often arrives through unexpected paths. Letting go also applies to outdated goals and expectations. Clinging to a specific form of success can blind you to better opportunities. Releasing rigid expectations opens perception. The aura becomes receptive rather than demanding, which increases alignment. Emotional clutter accumulates over time. Old disappointments, unresolved conflicts, and unmet expectations linger in the subconscious. Letting go clears this clutter. As the inner space clears, energy begins to move freely. Free movement attracts resources, ideas, and connections. Through letting go, the aura becomes lighter, quieter, and more receptive. In that openness, wealth finds room to enter without resistance or internal conflict. When your aura is trained through awareness, calmness, self-respect, emotional discipline, belief, daily habits, and the ability to let go, wealth no longer feels like something distant or reserved for others. It begins to feel natural, almost expected. Not because you are chasing it, but because you have become aligned with it. At that point, wealth is not attracted by force or desperation. It is drawn by stability, clarity, and inner readiness. Your presence speaks before you do. Your energy creates opportunities before you ask. And money responds not to who you wish to be, but to who you consistently are. Training your aura is not a one-time act. It is a way of living. And when that way of living becomes grounded, disciplined, and open, wealth arrives not as luck, but as a reflection. Now we